Good morning, everyone. I'm your host, Suchi, and welcome to AI Minutes with Suchi. This week, we are continuing the discussion around data since it's one of the critical aspects of any AI system. Our topic for today is data uptime and availability for AI. And joining me today to help unpack this topic is Mandar Naik, Vice President at Redis. Mandar, thank you for joining us again on the show. And for the sake of our viewers, can you share a little bit about your background?
Good morning, Suchi, and thank you for having me once again on AI Minutes. Participating in this has been a fantastic opportunity for me, and I've been watching this podcast of yours with so many, valuable, speakers and key topics. It's great to be back on the show once again. A little bit about my background. Like you said, I am a vice president at Redis. I lead an organization that works very closely and partners with Microsoft on a joint product that we have called Azure Managed Redis. This is something that is available on Azure as a full first-party product offering. And I lead the global sales efforts for this product here at Redis.
Thank you. Thank you, Mandar, for sharing your journey. Now, let's talk a little bit more about data. Um, Now, we know that data is critical to any system, more specifically AI systems. And when we have data of such critical importance, we need to talk about data uptime and availability. But when we say availability, what exactly do we mean? What are the core aspects of availability that we need to start considering?
Great question, Suchi. In the simplest terms, availability of data means you should have your data available to your application, your analytics, any reason why you need that data at all times. And this means a lot of things. But if we were to break it down into simple terms, it can often be described in some core concepts. Like, for example, redundancy. That means you need to have multiple copies of these of your data sets at any given point of time, so that if one copy is unavailable for some reason, you have others available. Let's, for example, in the advent of the cloud, right? You want to make sure that your data is multi-region. That means if one regional data center for your favorite cloud provider is down, your data set is available through another region with the same cloud provider or maybe another cloud provider. The second concept is around speed of access, which is often called latency. You want your data to be accessible as soon as possible with the shortest or the smallest latency so that your application performance is not hindered. It's also got to do a lot with throughput, which is essentially the volume of data that is served to your application. These are at the core some of the most basic things that one need to consider when thinking about availability of your data. There are, of course, other things to think about as well. For example, failover in case of a downtime, right? And how your data fails over, right? And resiliency at the core of it. Uh, it's also important to kind of ensure that you have good tools to monitor your data and observability of your data. So all of these are core requirements of what is considered the umbrella concept of availability of your data. And these are some of the things that we prioritize certainly with our customers, and customers in general care about most.
Thank you, Mandar, for explaining the core concepts behind data uptime and availability. Now, we know that a lot of teams are going ahead and building these AI systems, but they're not fully thinking about the data layer. So, what are the biggest mistakes that organizations make when planning AI solutions that depend on continuous and reliable data? And how can we kind of avoid those?
Great question, Suchi, once again. Um, so when you think about AI, right, we've got to understand that your AI or the responses from your AI or what your AI actually returns back to you is only as good as the underlying data, right? And so the obvious things are around integrity of your data, quality of data, accuracy, and so on, right? And those are things that most people envisioning AI solutions tend to think about. What they do not think about are some of the other core aspects of ensuring that your AI applications are future proof, so to speak, right? One of the things is about, one of the common mistakes we see a lot of customers and a lot of people not think about soon enough is, scale. We need to remember, right? The data that your application, your AI application, addresses is only going to grow over time. So you've got to have scale as a core part of your planning process. The second thing that we often see, customers almost treat as an afterthought is some of those core concepts I covered in your previous question around availability, right? Not thinking about redundancy, multi-region, multi-cloud in many instances, how some of your decisions that you take today are going to impact the speed of access, the volume of data that is going to be served over time. That's another key thing that one needs to think about as you're designing your new age AI applications. I have very often more recently come across a problem where customers tend to think AI in the context of only a single source of data. Well, your AI is not going to be as effective if it's being planned to address only a single source of data. Often AI is most effective when it brings together data from different sources. And over reliance on a single source of data is a common mistake I've seen a lot of people make. And lastly, right, you cannot say when something will fail. It may be a hardware failure, a network failure. There are so many reasons why your systems can fail. Not considering all of those and not designing your systems ground up for failure and resiliency is another common mistake that one can make. So all in all, those are some of the things that I would think about when planning new systems and designing and architecting new systems.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mandar. To summarize, as AI becomes more and more critical and it becomes the backbone for all of our decision making, our experiences, our workflows, and operations, data uptime also is something that is no more a nice to have. It becomes a core part of our AI systems, and investing in data uptime solutions today is what will ensure the success of our AI systems tomorrow. So, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for joining us on our show. Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much, Suchi. Always a pleasure to be on your show and looking forward to all the next episodes coming in for the fantastic insights that you keep sharing every week.
Thank you. Bye.